Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Daniel, and today I'm joined by my friend Ben.
Nice to see you guys.
And it is a special day because we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Dreamcast. Now today is not that day, but it is the first day of the NFL regular season, and the SEGA Dreamcast came out on September 9th, 1999 with NFL 2K alongside it. So today we're gonna have a little, let's call it a let's play, but we're gonna watch the computer play the same game that you're maybe watching on television tonight. We're gonna see the Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs on NFL 2K on the SEGA Dreamcast.
I'm excited to see some football on the C-Man machine. Let's go.
Exactly. So before we hop in, just want to set the table real quick. You can see we have original hardware, but we will be emulating this, so we'll have hopefully a slightly cleaner picture. We'll be doing it on the Flycast, so hopefully everything will be just as similar as you were to play it on original hardware. Before we do that, Ben, if you don't mind me asking, what is your history and experience with the Dreamcast?
Big fan of the Dreamcast back in the day. Never owned one myself, but one of my best friends at the time, Jason Yakubovich, shout out if you're watching, used to play Soul Calibur and Power Stone on his machine all the time. Loved it. Great system.
It's a great machine. I love it as well. It only had a 2-year lifespan, but man, it came out swinging in those 2 years. So I'd say without further ado, let's just go ahead and boot up the game and check it out.
Let's do it.
All right.
There's that intro we all know and love.
Beautiful. Okay, so we talked about this beforehand. I think we both agree we want to watch the opening intro sequence.
Yep.
To see just how hilarious it is in a modern 2024 setting.
SEGA Sports logo, edgy.
Ooh, they had a gold trophy back there.
Got the Lombardi.
Graphics already starting strong.
To the inaugural year of the NFL on the SEGA.
Okay, first logo note, NFL logo's changed, not drastically, but I'd say it's 25% different than it is here back in 1999.
Now Ben, you're joining me today not just because you're a good friend of mine, but you know a little bit more about football than I do. So please chime in with all these little details you see.
Rams have a different logo, Bengals have a new logo now.
Rams have a new city. A lot of these probably have new cities.
The Browns, I think, are on their second coming by the time this game came out. And in fact, I think the Baltimore Ravens, correct me if I'm wrong, fam, but the Baltimore Ravens that are in this game are the former Cleveland Browns that had dropped out of the NFL around 1996 and then come back in 1998. I think that's the story.
Well, I don't know a lot about football, but that piece of trivia I actually know exactly.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm afraid you're wrong. But we'll go ahead and say you are right. You touched my finger there? Oh my goodness. You guys maybe didn't see that behind the case.
We're getting intimate.
Yeah.
So what is the story then?
Oh, well, football is played by a tightly wound leather ball.
11 on 11, right? Yeah.
Sometimes. A golden retriever can be subbed in under certain rules.
This is where you cut in Air Bud getting tackled at the end of Golden Receiver.
Yes.
And now, this could be it. Oh, buddy. No, 184-pound crushing tackle by Tyler.
Well, that was it. I feel like I'm somewhat hyped up. That one felt like it was really doing a lot of heavy lifting, trying to explain just what is the NFL.
Right.
And not necessarily saying that like SEGA Sports has the most awesome
dynamic
NFL
presentation
football game you're going to be playing. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in. Now, we have tried to get the game to recognize the first game of the season as the same first game of the 2024 season. That would be the Ravens versus the Chiefs. That is not possible. So we're going to be doing an exhibition match. And let's set it up here. Oh, and let's go ahead and see how long the quarters are.
Yeah, 15 minutes is going to be a tough watch.
Yeah, we're going to speed this up a little bit. 5 minutes, let's do. Do you want to do a flat 10 or?
10 or 8. Definitely not 15.
We'll do 8. Let's do 7, because 7's a magical number.
Oh, there you go.
Did that save properly? It did. Okay.
Good time to mention that this game at the time would have been going up against Madden on Sony and Nintendo systems. Sega obviously didn't have the license for Madden, but
I feel like it was on every system other than
yeah,
Dreamcast.
it was. But they're the first ones to have the 2K games, and that brand is still going strong. So good on you, Dreamcast.
The NFL license was a lot more liberal all around, not just Madden and NFL 2K series, but this is on all platforms, but Dreamcast as well. NFL Blitz series
Oh yeah.
was also up there. Then NFL
Who had
Quarter-
Player Association? Because I remember them shouting out the name Beata Patuka about 1,000 times.
There was the NFL Quarterback Club series
Yep.
as well. I don't remember the exact date. I want to say it was like around 2001-ish is when EA locked in that exclusivity with Madden,
With Players Association?
which is
Or the NFL
standing
license.
to this day. The NFL license, because like you mentioned the 2K series. Yeah,
I guess
that's still
NBA is
going.
the only thing going.
NBA is
yeah.
the only one. Like all the other stuff is gone.
What else did they have? So they had football, they had NBA, did they have?
They had NHL.
They had an NHL, but no MLB, I don't think.
They didn't call it MLB. They called it World Series Baseball.
Okay.
But they did. They
Okay.
had them all.
Oh, wow.
Sports was huge. First, they thought this was going to be their in for the American market. You can see we have the Sega Sports bundle of the console. So yeah, don't hold me on these numbers, but I want to say like close to half of the launch lineup was all sports games.
And it makes sense based on Sega's lineage. The Genesis was the sports console in that generation. They really pushed that in the mid-90s. That was kind of their
Mutant League Football.
early appeal to older gamers.
But yeah, they wanted all the sports, and they seem to manage to lock in the license for everything. All the logos, all the players,
Yep.
and a lot of the players, at least for the Dreamcast launch, they were involved in launch. They were using their likenesses and their voices for commercials. But more often than not, it was using like in-game player models, but there was a few live action spots as well. All right, we're already a few minutes in the first quarter.
We got 2nd and 10. Baltimore's moving the ball.
I'm rooting for the Chiefs.
Yep.
We agreed beforehand that we're going to pick a different team, so we'll have something to
Ravens.
motivate ourselves for, and let's see how the Chiefs do. If only they had Taylor Swift.
To support them, yeah.
What would be Britney Spears? Would that be the look-alike celebrity, the pop starlet of 1999?
Well, we were talking about this before, but early days of motion capture and 3D gaming, right? But the animation is actually not bad for a 1999 3D game.
Yeah. Released in late 1999, so theoretically it was being developed early 99 and most
Late
of 1998. But yeah, no, I also agree that there's some surprisingly good animations on display here. Very smooth. And just, you don't see a lot of duplicates. They all feel pretty unique. I don't know, would it be so bold to say that like they're actually, what would you call it, generating the animations on the fly the way
Right.
modern games do? I'm pretty sure they're all canned, pre-baked animations, but they bounce between them very seamlessly.
Decision-based animation playback.
Yeah. Now here's another question for you as a sports fan. Ooh,
Wow.
Is that legal anymore? That's not legal.
I don't
It's
think you can do
2024
that anymore. Well, you can grab a guy and you can kind of hip toss him, but
Yeah.
straight up picking
You
him up
can't
and putting him down,
body
I think
slam
is
him?
not quite allowed
Yeah.
anymore.
Were the devs involved in NFL Blitz?
And also, of note, we just saw a kickoff return, and you won't really be seeing those in this format in the NFL season this year since they've changed the rules.
Well, what's different? Because I know they changed the actual kickoff. It happens way closer, and like the what would it be? The defense line isn't allowed to move until they actually catch the
Yeah,
ball.
so the offense and defense, I believe they're either 10 yards or 20 yards apart. I think it's 20 yards. And yeah, the ball is still kicked. Once the receiving team catches the ball, then the defense can approach the receiving team and try to stop them. What it's going to lead to is
That was kind of a funky.
that was a funny
a
little play
little
there.
funky animation after we were just.
A little air ball catch.
Praising it for it?
Lack of a catch. But the intention is to reduce injuries because on a kickoff, if you're starting from the 20 or 25 on the other end, and you're running full speed for 40 yards, that's when most injuries happen in a football game around those kickoff plays. So it's a smart move. It'll take a while for people to get used to it, but
But on fourth down kicks, is that different this year?
punts? No, punts are
Punts?
the same.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, yeah.
Fourth down kicks, punts? Yeah.
No, punts. The rules are the same. as far as I know.
Okay. So, what about the stadium? Chiefs still playing in the stadium?
Chiefs are at the same location. I think they've been at this stadium for like 45 years, something like that. Arrowhead.
Yeah, yeah. I have not been there myself in person. Have you ever been to
I have
Arrowhead
not.
Stadium? I'm going to assume that the devs did a perfect job.
Yeah.
This is a one-to-one exact replica.
People are standees in real life there as well. It's weird. Nobody moves. They
Yeah.
just are there.
Well, they're weighed down with all that Kansas City barbecue.
That's right.
They're just kind of solidified in the Midwestern fat of it all.
Can we call Paul Rudd and get his take?
He's from Kansas City, is that right?
he's a
why
big-
why
he's a
am I
big-
associated? I know he's a fan of the
He's
Royals.
a big KC fan. I'm pretty sure he's from Kansas City, but he also has family from like the UK. So he has this weird like London, Kansas City upbringing.
Interesting.
It's now 2nd and 9.
I'm impressed by the grass texture. The numbers on the field look pretty great. Like,
Yeah.
it's really not bad for a 1999 game.
And I was messing around with the game this week before today, and there's unique background banners for all the different teams, and not just their standard, like the name, like Chiefs, like they have different players, and like, go this and go that. And then obviously there's a lot of very unique dialogue options for the sportscasters. But I'm impressed. As I already admitted, I'm not the biggest sports fan, football fan. I do buy sports games from time to time, but at this era, 1999, I did not have a Dreamcast at launch. I got one a little bit later. Oh, sorry, for a second there, I thought I saw his helmet pop off.
Yeah.
No, I saw something else there. But I bought Madden 64, and I liked Madden 64 quite a bit. I also replayed Madden 64 a month or two ago. Whoa, those graphics do not hold up anywhere closest. Madden 64,
Quite a
I
bit
think,
blockier than this.
Oh, way blockier.
yeah.
And the textures are super duper muddy.
Right.
I think Madden 64 came out in 1996.
Came out in 97.
97.
That was like a spring 97 game. So it would have been, Madden 64 would have been Madden 97 or 98 then. I think 97 because that would have been the season. Yeah, that fall. But yeah, it's funny that football games come out in the spring.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Summer has been
Or summer.
the thing now. But I think it's crazy the advancement in Madden of the 97, 96 era.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To, this is just, if our intuition is correct and they're developing this game in 98 to be released in 99, that's under a 2-year
Development cycle.
development. Well, not just cycle, but difference between the launch of Madden 64 and this coming out. Just impressive, very impressive that they. I guess to be fair, we should probably try to track down a copy of Madden 99, see what those graphics look like.
Well, I remember even at the time, I remember reading a review of Madden 64 Nintendo Power compared to NFL Quarterback Club, which came out same year. Quarterback Club 98 came out the same year. Even at the time, people were like, these graphics are kind of blocky.
Yeah.
And it was like the first year of people playing 3D
Well, yeah, that was the
64
first
games.
3D polygonal Madden game.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
texture blurriness is, I guess, is what still kind of, or didn't stand out then, but now when I look
Now
at it, it's like, ooh, that's
super
a
apparent. Yeah,
blurry texture.
96 and 97 are kind of down years
Kansas
for
City
Madden.
boys. They have all the idioms.
That's amazing.
From all the different teams.
Customized fan language in the stand. It's actually pretty impressive that they bothered to do that. Number 59.
Well, I gotta imagine this-
must be their center.
Sega Dreamcast lasted for 2 years.
Yep.
The launch in 99, American launch in 99, launched in Japan in 98, I think December 98. Europe, October 99. God, thinking about how much money Sega must have dropped for the development of a new console. They had all their other first-party
Manufacturing.
exclusives like Sonic and Crazy Taxi and all this. Not Crazy Taxi, you could argue like, they just ported the arcade version, but still a lot of work, a lot of teams needing to have paychecks getting sent out, and then you go all in on sports. Who knows how much money they're sending to the NFL and then every other league, because they have the NHL, they have NBA, they have MLB. So I can see how they kind of put themselves in a bit of a situation where like they have to make all the money if they are going to make anything
If they're going to
back.
cover their costs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being really excited about the Dreamcast as basically a home version of the Naomi hardware, which was their arcade hardware at the time. So any arcade ports at the time were just like pretty much instant. I just said at the time 3 times. Boom, bop, beep, bop, boop. Arcade ports at the time were super easy to do.
I'll edit all this in.
Yeah.
Staying in.
So it's harder for them to convert.
But yeah, the console holds a special place in my heart.
What's the first game you played on it?
Sonic Adventure.
Okay.
My next door neighbor got the console at launch. I bought Final Fantasy VIII that day because I was really obsessed with Final Fantasy at that era, and I didn't have the money to get a console and a game and all that stuff. It was not his birthday, but it was around his birthday, so I don't know for certain, but I feel very confident that it was a sort of wrapped up birthday present. I think he threw some of his own birthday cash down because he came home with the Dreamcast, 2 controllers, VMUs, Sonic Adventure, NFL Blitz, and Ready to Rumble Boxing.
That's a pretty good package. Ready to Rumble was a big deal.
Ready to Rumble is so much fun.
Super fun game.
Still holds up.
Great animation. The fact that the character models degrade over the course of the fight is pretty awesome.
And I brought my PlayStation over because, like, you know, we're all there for the Dreamcast, but at the same time, I wanted to be happy about my Final Fantasy too. Like, Final Fantasy VIII finally out. It's so cool. And so I hooked up my PlayStation and we watched the opening sequence to Final Fantasy VIII, which maybe one of the best opening sequences of all the games. And yeah, he was just like, this is amazing. And it's like, oh, let's check out your Dreamcast now. And the PlayStation didn't get turned on for the rest of the night. Now, granted, a single player RPG, not quite, you know, boys' night having fun.
We even got a player photography in the game. That's actually
impressive, yeah.
Impressive, yeah. That's surprising.
Yeah, this would all be on a CD, not a DVD.
Well, it wasn't it was a
750 meg.
GD-ROM, if I'm
Oh, yeah,
mistaken.
I think you're probably right.
The GD-ROM was their proprietary format.
I don't think it says the space on here.
Which, you know, in hindsight, I've read a lot of analysis on reasons why the Dreamcast failed, and some people say it was piracy because these GD-ROMs were super easy to reproduce and burn.
Yes, so you're right. The thing there is less, I'm not an expert, but I am a pirater. I mean, no, I'm not a pirater, but burning the discs, super easy, but the main crack was the console itself didn't seem to have any sort of copyright protection.
Yeah, no locking
So,
mechanism.
yeah, you could burn the discs and play them in, and then, I mean, I remember a crazy era of walking into is Babbage's, or EB Games.
Yeah.
And they were selling Bleemcast, which even at that era felt like you're selling it. Like I knew what you know what Bleemcast?
No.
So Bleemcast was they figured out how to port PlayStation games to the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it was, you know, just the heavy hitters like Metal Gear Solid and Gran Turismo and whatnot. But yeah, like the boldness to like they
sell that on market.
Yeah, they
that's
sold it
wild.
in the store that you could go buy PlayStation games and take it home and play it on your Dreamcast. Just crazy.
Okay,
and
just
to this
then,
day,
that guy's arm texture, surprisingly decent there.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Sorry.
No, we're supposed to be rooting for these games, but it's scoreless in the first half. Right?
Yeah,
Come on, teams, give us something to root
I suppose
for.
the offense and the defense is pretty well matched in this game, in this pairing.
Yeah. But just for like a quick little, you know, to keep myself out of legal woes, and also just a bit of a time capsule, even though I had, you know, the console, you know, by the year 2000 and, you know, it dies in 2001, right? I didn't have a CD burner for a bit later.
Yeah.
So like,
There was
by
the dude you're
time-
getting to Dell years, we all had burners, yeah.
By the time I had the ability to burn a Dreamcast game to play, like I wasn't taking money out of Sega's pocket. They had already shut down that business and moved on.
That's why I never quite trusted that analysis, because yes, people figured out they could do that, but I didn't really hear about it until after the fact. But I mean, I was also 14.
Not an expert, but I mean, as we were just kind of calling out a second ago, like just the amount of money spent and to launch this thing and to have the launch that they did, which I believe I've seen, you know, quotes. I don't know how factual these are, but you know, at the time it was the most successful launch, and I think it still kind of holds that title.
It was a successful launch. The first week or the first month was super successful. They just weren't able to hold on to the momentum.
I don't know how they like judge that, right? Because like, you know, modern days, you know, PlayStation 5 comes out and is also selling millions and millions of
They
consoles.
struggle to keep up with the amount of units that they want to sell. So maybe Dreamcast had enough units up front to hit that number.
But I'm also thinking, I can't imagine they produced at volume in '99 what they do today. There just wasn't as many people playing. So, you know, a success to the Dreamcast, maybe producing 1 million and shipping 1 million, versus today, that's horrible. You know, like, we need 10 million if we're going to be a success. But yeah, the Dreamcast, at the same sort of era that they were figuring out a lot of that stuff, you know, there's the Bleemcast at PlayStation, but a very simple hack. You can probably see it on here. You know, this is powered by Windows ME. And so you could get emulators like Nintendo and Super Nintendo emulators working very easily.
That's right. It's got a Microsoft logo right on the front there.
And so that the system's not powerful enough to be emulating 64 games, but it can easily emulate NES and SNES.
Yeah.
And in college, that was kind of my one-stop shop console. It was funny though, so like you turn on the system, you put in the emulator disc, but you have to keep the system on. And then open up the disc and swap it with a disc that actually had ROMs on it.
Yep.
And I don't know why, it was like, like the kid version of like, I'm hacking this thing.
Right.
It's still on, the lid's open, like, whoa, anything could happen.
System, it's amazing. Wow, we're still scoreless.
Still scoreless. Do we look at the stats of these two teams? Like this year, are we watching like, they do the scores. They're like, this is like a 68% team.
I don't remember the Chiefs being especially awesome in 1999. They did have Tony Gonzalez, who was one of the best tight ends of all time, and Warren Moon was playing, but I'm not, is he starting at quarterback?
Do you notice, I can see him here as well, the divots in the field, that's
actually
very
impressive. That's sticking
because they
around.
seem to be, they're not from the last play, it seems to be for the whole game.
Let's see if that wipes at the quarter. Priest Holmes, just want to call out one of the best names in football at this time. Priest Holmes, that's a badass name for a running back. It is.
Yeah.
It's now 2nd and 10.
All right. I guess one thing I just kind of realized, which is a huge blessing for trying to put this video on the internet, compared to like modern EA sports games, there's no licensed music.
Oh, you're right.
A lot of sports games these days,
Yeah, they lean into that.
everywhere. I totally get it in the title screen and stuff like that, but like, well, one, you go to a real sports game and you're gonna hear music piped in over the system.
I had
So it is
I had a copy of World Cup '98 for N64 back here in this era, and it opened with Chumbawamba's "I Get Knocked Down, But I Get Up Again."
Yeah.
Quite infamously, and I think it played the same 30-second loop over and over again.
I can't deny that there's a few songs that I was introduced to because of like sports opening sequences.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course you have stuff like Tony Hawk, which introduced
we
an
punting
entire
again?
generation.
It's a defensive struggle, folks.
I didn't check what difficulty the AI is set to. Yeah, my two. Ooh, that was a fun animation.
Yeah.
My two theories here are they're either both set at super high AI difficulty,
super low.
or they're the worst teams in the league this year.
Well, contextually, this Ravens team went on to win the Super Bowl the next season, the 2000 to 2001 season, and that was kind of the last time I can think of that a defensive-heavy team won the Super Bowl. I mean, people always say defenses win championships, and yeah, you got to have a good defense, but this was Ray Allen, Tony Siragusa, they had a couple other stars, just like absolutely stacked defense on the Ravens in this era. And I think their quarterback the next year was Trent Dilfer, and you can't win with a no-name quarterback anymore at this point.
A lot of those names feel like no names to me. Since I'm not really up to speed. But Dilford is just a funky name. They're like, ooh, Dilford.
Yeah.
So,
Dilfer, not Dilford.
All right, this is the Chiefs. This is our run. I can feel it. Now, if we weren't watching the AI, I'll just tell you right now, I throw Hail Marys. That's my play.
Just every play.
Well, I run like the first play, and then just throw.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Oh, I thought that was an interception for an interception. An interception at the intersection.
Hello. I grew up playing Madden 94. That was the football game we had growing up, and I always picked rollout pass, but then I would hit the A button for the audible because I didn't like the way it was lined up. So I don't even really know what play I was running every time. I was passing to the Y button pretty much every play, and 1 in 5 of those would get intercepted.
I don't remember.
Score more.
I don't remember the names of the plays I used to use in Madden 64, but I remember kind of what they look like on the screen.
Yeah, the tree, yeah.
And so, when I was playing the other week, I was like, oh, I think I remember. And I'll just fall right back into my old groove. Either I'm remembering the wrong ones, or I'm just terrible at the game now. Because none of my old, I remember back
none of
in
it
the days,
matched up.
I remember there was at least 2 plays that were just practically guaranteed to work no matter what. That for whatever reason, the Madden 64 AI just could not figure out that this guy was going to juke right at the last second.
Oh,
Hey,
we got a fumble.
Who picked it up though?
I think it was the
you
first
did.
Ravens.
Ah, come on. Chiefs. I got so much riding on this.
Told you that defense.
They are going to have to be a little more careful with the ball.
But going back to what you were saying about Sega investing so much in this platform, you got to think about it contextually too. They were coming off of Genesis, huge success. Then they had those weird in-between bridge years where they had Sega CD, then 32X, then the Saturn, whole new console. That bombed. So the fact that they were able to sustain like 4 years of console of hardware failure and then do another one is kind of like a last straw. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 32X, you know, they don't claim that as another console, just an add-on.
Yep.
And Sega CD, I think, is in a similar boat. Saturn, I don't have all the statistics in front of me, but it's often said that one of the worst things with the Saturn is, like, you know, it was announced for sale to a surprise to the developers.
$100 more than the PlayStation.
It wasn't cheap either.
Yeah.
But, you know, not telling the developers that you have a console coming out, it's kind of a misstep to where, like, even if Sega diehard fans wanted it, what are you going to play? There wasn't anything on there.
It did a lot better in Japan. I just looked into this the other day. I kind of went down a rabbit hole. It did significantly better in Japan than the Saturn did.
Well,
and
that checks out.
Back to the 32X. So, like, there are certain games that will only play on 32X, but you have to have the Sega CD as well. So it's just like
the Sega CD?
Yeah, you got to have the Sega CD on it for certain 32X games to also work.
Really?
It's totally wild.
Which games?
I don't know the specific titles, but I just know it was like a fluke of like a few of them. There's only like I think there was only like 60 games released for 32X. Not a big library.
Well, 32X is always interesting, you know, because it absolutely, well, it can run standalone parts of your game, but like it works in tandem with the Genesis.
Right.
And so like, yeah,
it's like 2 extra processors or something like that.
Well, not only that, but like, you know, it would often offload stuff from the Genesis, like the UI, and just only run that, or they would reverse it. It would run the game on 32X, and then the Genesis would handle like sound and UI elements, that sort of stuff. So technically the games can be playable solo, but you're missing pretty key elements of the game. But it makes for very fun visuals that you can, when you disconnect them, especially with emulation, to kind of help force that. Digital Foundry has a lot of great videos about this. Surprise, surprise.
Yep. Love you guys.
But you can do a lot of cool stuff.
All right, we still got persistent divots in the field.
Well, this is just such an exciting game. So happy we set all this up, invited you over, Ben, and we're just watching this rip-roar in digital time of 0 to 0.
Why do you think they've changed the rules to favor the offense the last 10 years? People want to see scoring.
I'm just surprised, like, again, this is a non-sports video game mentality. Is like, I'll kick for that field goal every time.
Right?
Like, what are you doing for a punt? Like, 48 yards? I don't care. What's my pride gonna get injured? It's a 0-0 game. Just, let's go for it.
If you're past the 30, yes.
Oh, another fumble. Come on, Chiefs.
All right.
Digital Chiefs.
Tony Saragusa, Goose. I think, where are they starting from? They're starting from the 30? Okay.
Yeah, I think you might hopefully
Let's
be able to get some points on the board.
Let's put it in.
Close.
Let's put it in, boys.
Golly gee. Come on, Kansas City. Ooh. Yeah, for a hot second, it seemed like
he picked up maybe a yard.
All right. Dumb football question.
Yes.
Timeouts, the 3 you get, is that for the whole game or for each half?
Each half.
Okay.
You get 3.
So for a second, I was like, what's he doing burning timeouts in the first half, thinking it was 3 for the whole game?
First half timeouts are not super important unless you're doing like a final drive of the half and you need to work the clock a little bit. But first half timeouts are pretty not rarely used, but they're not as important strategically as second half timeouts.
Well, at least the Chiefs seem to be serious.
Yeah. 3rd and 8. Are we gonna kick a field goal?
Punt it. Did you hear that random NPC line?
What is it?
She goes, "Yeah, baby, going nowhere."
That's kind of amazing. They programmed hecklers.
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
Oh, PI, throw the flag. Come on.
It's their job to knock that ball down in
Wow,
any way.
the audience is just frozen with what's happening.
The sideline photographers can't believe what they're seeing.
Yeah. Scared stiff. All right. Punt fake out. There's a dog on the field. He's running to block the ball.
There seems to be an orange tabby that's taken to the field. Come on, we got points. All right, you got a minute and a half to close out the first half. Let's see what you guys can do.
Fussing with my shirt. Super sorry if I'm brushing up against my mic. I hate that when other people do it on YouTube videos, and here I am.
And he sends it downfield.
That is a vertical kick.
Sheehy will get it deep in his own territory.
Yeah, something about the camera angle and the graphics. Almost all these kicks, I keep on like looking at me like, that doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah.
Is it going off field?
Super big arc.
First down.
I was looking for, like, this is pretty much a broadcast camera angle. I thought there was more though.
Oh, like more coverage.
More coverage, more like standardized camera angles. Like all these are always at like an angle. I kind of was looking for like a flat, just 50-yard line, sideline view, and I can't remember seeing that.
Got the NFL Players Association logo in the replay wipe. How about that?
Well, I don't think we were quite there yet, but we were right on the precipice. Or I think I saw something in the background that said Play Anywhere. We're really close to that Play 60 initiative, which I believe was like White House initiated. Don't quote me on that, but you know, that's the whole.
I don't remember Play 60. Tell me.
And it's the same with the Play Anywhere. It's the NFL and I think a couple other the professional sports leagues, but it's all for kids that like quit sitting on the couch and watching TV and playing video games. Play 60. You gotta go play for 60 minutes a day every day.
But buy NFL 2K. Okay?
Yeah. Buy
Go
NFL
outside,
2K.
but buy NFL 2K.
With your VMU. Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Which is a good question. What sort of VMU abilities is on here? Doesn't say anything specific. I guess you can't raise and train a football player like you could in Sonic. But I assume, because every single game had a very fun little animation on the VMU screen. I'm just like imagining stuff here probably, but I want to say that like it does tell you like player stats.
Couldn't you? I thought there was a play selection feature on it or something like that.
Well, I mean, like the VMU in general had that stuff, but it was game by game of what they did with it.
I thought there was one sports game that you could actually, so it wouldn't be on the screen and your opponent couldn't see it. You could actually pick the play on the VMU, but I could be
I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you're saying. Yeah, maybe that's a cool integration if they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Let's build a time machine, go back and make some money with some great VMU integration ideas.
Right. I remember Jason raising his chows on his VMU from Sonic Adventure.
I definitely
like
was.
Tamagotchi
I
style.
kind of thought that was like at that era when I was playing Dreamcast, like in 2000. You know, that was my first sort of interaction with the VMU was the Sonic Adventure version, and I guess I assumed that like every game had that sort of mini game in there.
Yeah.
And absolutely not.
Did not.
Most games it was just a memory card and you had a little animation. But some of them were fun. I mean, most of them were Tamagotchi level, simple.
Did they have a good reputation for holding up the memory? Because memory cards back in the day, especially if you had a third-party memory card, infamous for getting corrupt, losing your saves.
I mean, I've
Did you ever
never
have any
lost
issues?
any saves. I mean, one thing is like they use batteries,
Okay, legit battery
flat
backup.
batteries, yeah. So like, you don't really have to worry about that happening. And I'm sure someone out there has lost their data and is just furious. And I was like, they're fine, they never break. I can't remember ever losing data for that.
Yeah.
I have had the batteries go out on them, but now that I'm thinking about it, I never took the dead VMU out of the controller. Because when it's plugged in a controller, it doesn't need batteries, it gets the charge through the system.
Yep.
So even if your battery's dead, but you leave the VMU in your controller, you would never know it was dead until you try to take it out. So I don't know if that like helps preserve the data as well, that it's getting a little bit of juice from the system. And if you had a dead battery and you took it out and just let it sit on a shelf for 5 years, maybe then. But
Which we know 5 years was longer than the lifespan. So
exactly. But I mean, I have a lot of VMUs, and I have some third-party memory cards as well, and they all work great.
So we're about to get into the second half here, and I'm seeing consistent divots.
Yeah, I'm. The fact that the placement, just watching the last time we noticed them, is like that is not where the play action happened. It makes me assume that these are indeed.
Or maybe there's like a
entire
timer,
game.
you know how like Solid Snake's footsteps would eventually
for
kind of
sure.
pitter-patter behind him.
Well, like I mean, even modern games have the disappearing decals or decals, how you ever pronounce. You prefer to pronounce them? I was watching some YouTube video, some British guy, and he kept calling. He was saying something else that like I heard it so many times that like it got in my head. I'm like, oh,
Is that how I say that now?
Like, no, it's decals. Is it? Am I right? I don't know. Is there a right answer?
New York City.
But yeah,
I say Basil now because of me.
because I remember, I think it was GoldenEye. It may have been Perfect Dark. But it was like a game with our friends where we were trying to. It was GoldenEye because the
bullets would disappear.
We were trying to see if
eventually.
you could like, how could you write this word before the bullets disappear?
Right.
Could you make a wang, and how long could you make it before the balls start disappearing?
Paintball mode.
Sorry, Mom, if you're watching.
We totally drew
She is not watching. My mom supports everything I do, but I would be blown away if she actually sat down and
wow,
watched
that guy got lit up.
YouTube videos.
Tackled by Woodson. A gain of 4.
She does like the game Flower, though.
Oh,
Just to give my mom some gaming credit.
nice.
Ball on the
Flower is a good game.
I'll give him this. I feel like the weight of the players is pretty well represented with the way they animate and the way they react. Sometimes these old models look all floaty, you know, like they don't have enough substance to them. But they actually look like heavy people.
Again, just very impressive package as a launch game for a new system of a new generation.
Well, you mentioned Sonic Adventure was your first game on Dreamcast. First game I played was Soul Calibur, and I was like convinced that video game character models and animation couldn't look better.
Yeah.
We're not getting any better than this.
Man, I would agree with that, honestly, until like, I think the first time I played Soul Calibur 1 with a set of eyes, I thought like, ooh, it's starting to look old. It was like 2019, 2018.
No, totally, yeah.
All the way up until then, I would pop in Soul Calibur 1 and I'd still think like, this still looks really great.
Really good. Yeah.
I have a CRT, and that Soul Calibur 1 and Rez are like the two games that like permanently live in the two Dreamcasts, as those are the two games I still routinely pick up and play. And yeah, Soul Calibur 1 has not missed a beat. I think Soul Calibur 2 is probably the better, but like they're so close.
Yeah.
3 and on got a little wonky.
Soul Calibur 2 definitely got a boost because I remember that was the one that came out on PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and I remember playing 2 and then going back to 1 and being like, oh wow, okay, it was a pretty significant leap, but still.
And it's just your standard, more characters, more stages.
More. But yeah, it wasn't that initial leap that was just like, holy crap.
I believe it was 3. No, 3 was the PS2 exclusive. 4 was with the Star Wars characters that they started introducing Street Fighter-esque like super moves and like power moves. And I wasn't. I just want to have the age-old question of like, what happens if a guy with a nunchuck fights a guy with a bow staff?
I think.
Like, all right, we'll get Maxi and Keelik in here, and we'll show you what happens.
I feel like most people agree that 2 is kind of like Mortal Kombat. It's kind of like the pinnacle of the series, even though they've innovated upon it since.
I still think that like 1 technically is like so perfect.
Yeah,
like not
it's
like
great game.
Mortal Kombat 1 is not technically
it's not.
perfect. Like Mortal Kombat 2
is leagues
like
better.
Street Fighter,
Yep.
same thing. But like Soul Calibur 1 and 2 technically I think
bounds.
play about the same. It's just, well, definitely if you have a preference of like, I want to play as Spawn, well,
Right.
your answer's right in front of you. Then which console you're going to be picking.
So yeah, Spawn was on Xbox, Hihachi was on PS2, and then GameCube got Link.
Correct. And 4, it was Yoda was Xbox and Darth Vader was PS3, which I did not enjoy that choice. I was a 360 gamer at the time, and I wanted Vader.
Yeah.
And I was only a 360 gamer because at that era, almost every single game that was multi-platform played better on 360.
Was better on 360, yeah.
I don't remember if Soul Calibur 4 was one of those that was significantly worse on PS4, like Fallout and Assassin's Creed and just so many games.
Oh, do you remember the rabid Wii 60 contingency? People who played on Xbox 360 and Nintendo Wii. The Wii 60 movement. Lost
What
to
do you
the-
mean?
That's just what people called it. Like that's what people like enthusiasts were like. I'm Team Wii 60.
Because like I'm a gamer, I want to play everything that's coming out, so I gotta have a Nintendo console.
gotta pick-
because that's not coming out anywhere.
You gotta put-
So it's
you gotta
either
pick
gonna
PlayStation
be a
or
Wii
Xbox.
S3
Yep.
or a Wii 60. You had to choose one of those. 'Cause-
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I get you now. For a hot second, I thought you were talking about someone just like, well, I love like I'm trying to think of a good example, like Dead Space on 360, but
Oh, yeah.
a true fan should play it on
Right.
the Wii as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
which is a
Extraction.
completely different game. But you know.
Totally different game. But no, I just remember that being
That
kind
was
of like
also
a vocal contingency on forums.
Yeah. That era of like when the 360 came out and like the PS2 was still a thing, and you had the Game Boy Advance and you had the DS out there, you would have a single game, like let's just say Spider-Man for like the movie Spider-Man
Yeah.
stuff, that would have like 4 different versions, which is still what you have today, but
they're
all 4
completely
different.
different.
They're completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. Which
I don't know if I missed that. I was like, on one hand, you always found like some weird gems. Like for instance, I think the Tony Hawk games on Game Boy Advance are legit good.
Yeah.
Even though they're not the PlayStation games, but
I mean, I think the publishers or whoever was kind of spearheading those projects probably found.
tied the board, then.
Yeah, they're like, we gotta
You're in
get
trouble.
We gotta get, you know, I don't know what's a good license tie-in game. Like, we gotta get The World Is Not Enough out on
Yes,
N64 and PlayStation. Although those are basically the same game, so not
Yeah.
a great analogy. But
There's a GBA port
they would.
for that.
Okay, there you go. But they would hire different developers because they're like, well, I can get 3 or 4 different teams to deliver on the same
Oh,
date.
for sure.
And they all probably got the same brief.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, it ends up being radically different games.
I just think of like for the customer. I said client, you know, my business mind. But for the Joe Schmo who's buying this stuff that like I enjoy here in 2024, they'd be like, what do you mean there's 4 different versions of Batman Returns? Like, I want to play them all.
Yeah, that's
But-
a famous one actually.
Yeah.
The Batman games. Yeah.
But I would be so pissed off if you're like, oh, like I'm gonna play like a 3D swinging through New York City Spider-Man, and then you get like the DS game. It's like, oh, it's a 2D brawler. Like,
Right.
Grandma, that's not the game I asked for.
Yep. I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 was one of the more famously successful Game Boy Advance ports. That
Yeah.
it was isometric, it was 3D-esque, but like everyone says that game plays just as well as the PlayStation game.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Just really, it's just the camera view. The only main difference is the Game Boy Advance. You know, only had 2 face buttons, not 4.
Right.
So that kind of sucks. If I remember correctly, you just don't get the shoulder spins.
Strange design choice at that point. Super Nintendo was, you know, 9-10 years old or whatever at that point. So like, why didn't they just
And the
put 4
64
face-
had what? 6 face buttons.
Yeah.
Technically, sometimes you would count the D-pad also. So you're looking at
Toggle the map
6,
up- map on and
10. Let's throw the start in there.
Yeah.
64's got a lot of buttons. That's why it's such a pain in the butt when you're trying to play it on a modern console.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
feel
you know,
right.
The Switch, like just no modern controller feels
Yeah, you got to
appropriate
play.
because it's missing buttons.
Yeah.
Just like so many, like I love the PlayStation Vita. I gesture behind me. I don't think you guys can see on camera, but all my consoles are back here. But yeah, like the Vita is so perfect, but they chose to do just 1 row of shoulder buttons instead of
right,
2,
right.
and they try to say like, well, you have the touchpad as your L2, R2, but like not the
Doesn't
same.
feel the same. Yeah.
He's at the 35. This is
Yeah, 64 games when you remap
And also the
those.
sticks don't click.
Yep, when you remap those C buttons to
That's why the
to a
Switch
stick,
is so
doesn't work.
perfect.
Yeah.
The Vita should have been the Switch, could have been.
Yeah.
But they fundamentally did not
10 yards.
make it so the game you made on the PlayStation 3 plays on the Vita.
Right.
Because like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of the Two Worlds, that is such a great game on Vita visually. Like it looks like a PlayStation 3 game, surprisingly so. But again, you're missing a couple of buttons, so it's a little bit less.
I think we kind of missed the fact that Kansas City put up a field goal, or at least I did.
You were talking. I went in your face. I gave you a fist pump. And I said,
Oh, that's what that was. Okay,
I wasn't
okay.
paying attention either until I saw the go through the uprights.
Well, we're in a dead heat,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah, dead heat. Ooh,
And he's met
that guy got some whiplash on that hit.
scrimmage.
Somebody get the number on that truck.
A gain of 1 on the play.
Now, do you recognize these announcers? As
you know, I
a
was-
casual fan, it's John Madden or nothing mostly.
Yeah, I was trying to listen in, but I'm not really recognizing the voices.
They said their names at the beginning, but I didn't catch them.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cheat and look them up.
Oh my gosh.
Durbach throws long right.
Who?
Hey, oh, I thought he had it.
4th down.
4th and 9.
Might have made some contact downfield, and that might have been a penalty.
Not if he was looking back at the ball.
Oh, dude, go for the field goal.
Hard-nosed defense there.
Oh, interesting. So the play-by-play and color commentary in the games is done by fictional sportscasters Dan Stevens, voiced by Terry McGovern, and Peter O'Keefe, voiced by Jay Stein. So
Fascinating.
yeah, no, they weren't
You
trying
paid
to.
for
Everything else, yeah. Al Michaels was too much.
That's crazy. Because, like, I understand, like, Al Michaels, John Madden, but, like, there has to be so many other real-world human beings who could have stepped in and lent their name and likeness. Crazy.
Did you know that Al Michaels, he makes $1 million for every broadcast on Prime now? Every single game, he makes $1 million.
That's crazy. Like, that's like what,
lost the leg.
I see. Well, folks, I hope this doesn't look terrible. Because we can't charge it. It's just gonna look like that for a little while. We'll remember, timestamp, 3rd quarter, a minute left. If the video suddenly gets lit again, you know we're on a reshoot. Yeah, but $1 million, that's crazy. Like, that's almost like, what was Seinfeld making at the end of it? Like, because that's just what I go to in my mind, or like, that was a famous example.
I remember
man
the
makes
the Friends
$1 million an episode.
The Friends cast were making like $500K an episode, and that caused big headlines. And I think
that's
Seinfeld
back when they're doing
around
25 episodes a season.
Yeah. That's wild. And that was in 1996, 97, $98. Wild.
Well, with Friends, that's like 2002.
When they were making $500K?
Well, were they making that at the final season or at the beginning? They can't have been making that at the beginning.
No, not at the
It has
beginning.
to be after.
That show started in 94,
Hey, fumble.
I want to say.
Go! I'm sorry, Ben. Sorry that had to happen. I know you're just so action replay, as in like the people that sell the cheat codes.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, I know you're super invested.
Yeah, I'm.
Don't get too sad.
Son of a. I'm just glad somebody got into the paint. Come on.
I'm clapping very softly because the microphones are close to our chest.
Don't clap. Oh, that guy's shirt just popped on. Did you see that?
I did. That was what I was kind of mentioning earlier, that LOD, level of detail. That's where my brain wasn't working either. But yeah, when it goes a little too far out, the level of detail scales down quite a bit. All right.
And you guys might notice the crowd. It's 2D standing up standee style in like the first 20 rows, and then after that it's just a flat texture.
Totally.
There you go. You
I
can
feel
see
like
it clearly there.
like Nintendo games still do a lot of that.
No, yeah. There's still a lot of
games.
crowd creativity going on.
I mean, gosh, when I play something like Gran Turismo 7 and you see they have like 3D rendered polygons for the spectators on the side that like you are not seeing as you're going 250 miles per hour. Sometimes I think it was like, is that the best use of the polygons?
The budget? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a costly asset.
I guess like you're only noticing that in replays. And I know that Gran Turismo like cranks stuff up for the replays because like camera's fixed, they already know what's happening, so they can pump it up. So I may be speaking out of order here, that it's possible they use low models when you're actually in the game, but when you see the sidelines in a replay or something like that, or a screenshot, they swap in a high quality model, which is cool.
Looking over game film, that research seems to be paying off big time.
And they do a lot of like frame rate tricks with stuff in the distance now, or stuff that's 200 yards away is playing at 20 frames a second, whereas the action's happening at 60.
I personally hate that. I wish they'd stop doing that, because like, I don't know, that's just, I know it's a silly thing to focus on, but like for me, the stability, which I'll use the word stability, but like being able to zoom in something super far away and it be what it is like good graphics in my mind. That's why a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 just feels so solid, because again, the word solid, it feels like such a perfectly chosen word, because you never see stuff pop in, you don't see stuff kind of wobbling, it just, it is doing it, it's just doing it in such a slick way you can't tell. And like, I don't know, somehow my brain turned that off, that part of my critique off for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But there are moments. But I guess, not to be too rambly here, but Nintendo and their devs are really good to where, like, yeah, of course they're turning off like blades of grass and little tiny things, but they keep all the macro level details.
Yeah,
pretty solid.
There's a bubble of kind of fine detail rendering, and there's levels and layers to what they're budgeting, right?
Yeah, but like the important stuff, because like the whole game is like climb a mountain and find where you're supposed to go.
Right.
So that place you're supposed to go better be visible, and so stuff like the shrines, like those are almost always on. Even if you're 100 miles away, and you zoom in, you'll see them. I know everybody who's tuning in for the Dreamcast SEGA Sports broadcast wants to hear us talk about Zelda and Final Fantasy and every other video.
This is what we do. All right, 10-3, fourth quarter, 6:08 to go. And I believe that game clock's still ticking down in real time. It's not accelerated. It's not an accelerated 8
Oh, it's real time.
Right?
Yeah, it's not video game time.
Yeah.
Like Majora's Mask. Tangent.
Play the song and slow it down. And maybe
Your
Baltimore will
music
get in the end zone.
saved me.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny.
Oh, man, my little AI guys are really thinking this one through.
Your music
they're
saved
they're just counting the.
my game.
They're just running the clock down, I think. But why? This is not a good time to do that.
Well, if you got the ball and you're leading by a touchdown, you do want to bleed the clock at this point.
For
to
sure.
Give them
It's
as
just-
little time
it's
as
still
possible
one
to score
possession
back.
game.
But yeah, you want to score again. And then you get into the how far do we go until it's too far, and then if we don't score and they get the ball back, are we gonna have enough time to get it again?
Mm-hmm.
On the 31.
Clock management. All right.
There's the height.
Did he get it? I don't think he did. 4th and 1. That's one good thing about video games. They know immediately.
Yeah.
You didn't get that one.
And left no opportunities for the run.
I need to play the modern Madden because something tells me that they do the whole pageantry of like bring out the chains. Even though the computer, of course, knows the answer, they still want to make you anticipate.
The most recent Madden game I played was 2018 on a PS4 Slim, not a Pro, and while it looked great, I did notice that as it was kind of cutting from camera angle to camera angle, you could feel the game kind of catching up with itself in order to fulfill those new setups.
Yeah.
And I found that to be quite immersion breaking.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. But I don't know, that's, at this point, a 6-year-old game, or 7.
Well, so many games can, on a screenshot or in segments look good, but the devil's in the details to bring it back to stuff like Red Dead Redemption games. Like, no, it needs to look that way at all times.
Yeah.
The second it breaks, your immersion is now gone.
Mitchell passes in middle.
Ooh.
Second down.
Now, you are an owner of a PlayStation 4.
I am.
Do you own Red Dead Redemption 2?
I have the $20 version that I bought off the store that I have not played.
Of the second one, not the first one.
second
Okay.
one.
Well, I guess the first one just came out on PS4.
I'm not sure if
ago.
it's like a reduced version or if it is the full fat game. I was actually
It's the full game.
Is it?
There is no DLC for it.
Okay.
The base game is all they made. But
There wasn't like an online version that was like
there's
stripped
an
down?
online.
But
It's the
that was dedicated, but it's the whole package no matter what.
It's all on the same disc.
Okay.
It's the exact same game world map. It's like Grand Theft Auto. That like when you're about to bounce in, it says, "Are you trying to play the story, or you just want to run around this world and cause chaos?" Granted, I don't play a lot of Red Dead Online, so there might be some differences I'm not super familiar with.
That little shimmy at the line there, that was actually an impressive little animation detail the guy was doing
Yeah.
like this. Like, that's impressive.
Well, I'd feel terrible if I didn't take the opportunity to tell you you need to play Red Dead Redemption 2. It's honestly maybe one of the best games I've ever played. And I'm bringing this to the table, 6 years late?
Yeah.
But the game, I don't mean this as like an insult. It's so full of stuff that like, I can't imagine the people that beat the game right off the bat could have absorbed it all.
Right.
Kind of like I burnt through Twilight Princess when that came out. You were by my side. We were both in college together.
Yep.
Like in under a week, like 5 days.
Yeah.
And I would say middle, like 50% of the game just blurs together because I just was go. I wasn't paying attention. So Red Dead 2, it took me like, no joke, like 4 years. Because I'd play for like a month and then take like a 4-month break and then go back in. But I kind of feel like you're not allowed to do that.
One of those sumo slams.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that is maybe the best way to just like think of it far more as a long-term engagement, like reading the Lord of the Rings books or something. It's just like, no, this is going to take a while, but that's the point. Enjoy, soak it in.
That was how I treated my first file on Breath of the Wild. I have like 340 hours on it. I still haven't done everything. Like I got all the shrines. I think I have all the locations unlocked, but it's the Korok seeds that I'll never complete.
Yeah, I mean, there's how many? 900 something?
There's 900, 900 flat.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
doing that.
No.
I could barely tolerate 100 gold Skalitas in Ocarina.
You could see your path in the hero's journey mode, like everywhere you've been on the map, and it's like, if I haven't picked up 500 or 600 of these, and I've gone this detailed in my map exploration, I'm all right. It ain't happened. Although there were like...
They're better than other games though, right? Because like each seed's a little unique. I just immediately think of like Assassin's Creed 1 had you pick up 100 feathers, and they were just in the most asinine places. It was just the biggest pain in the butt imaginable. Yeah. I did it. I don't know why, but I did. I think you got something. I know you got a trophy, but like I think you also got like I'm probably misremembering it. I hope I got an exclusive weapon or a suit or something for all that effort.
Well, it's kind of funny how that first generation of 3D, I'm going to change up the genre, platformers, kind of had like this whole meteoric rise and fall in that N64 generation. You start with Mario 64, you go to Banjo-Kazooie, which is a refined, it's an improvement in basically every way. And then by the time you get to Donkey Kong 64, it's like endless tokens to collect, endless items to pick up, and it's
that
just
one
like,
is just so
I don't enjoy this.
Well, you're dropped at a level, and it's like a row of bananas, and each one's a different color for a different Kong, and you're like, don't put salt in my wounds. Like, I get it. I got a lot of stuff to collect, but like, just save that to later.
See this line? Walk in it. Now walk in it 4 more times with the other characters.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not walk in line 4 times. You gotta run to the other side of the map. Step on a stupid freaking barrel, then come back and walk. It's just...
It's mean.
It's just, like, I don't know what they're thinking. It didn't feel fun then. It definitely doesn't feel fun now.
No.
There's other collectathon games that I don't mind collecting at all. In fact, it's the best part of it. It's like, I'm going to complete my Pokédex.
Yep.
But man, Donkey Kong 64, you're right. Oof. And then, but they seem to like, well, I mean, so...
Even Banjo had too many tokens in it, but it's okay.
You said it was, you did Mario, Banjo, Donkey. So 2 of those are rare.
Yeah.
Well, Star Fox Adventures, is that the next 3D action adventure game that Rare made? Because the next one for Nintendo would be Odyssey, or Sunshine. And Sunshine I feel like has a pretty good balance. Like some of those blue coins were annoying, but not that bad.
Yeah, there was some Yoshi stuff that I never figured out how the hell to do. I never got all the shines in that game.
Yeah.
I think I beat the main story, but I don't know. That game was actually pretty challenging. Like Sunshine, infamously,
well, especially when
needed about 5 more months in the development. Yeah. But Star Fox.
I never felt that way at the time. Like I have definitely read those things, and I can see the seams here in modern day. But hey, all right, interception.
There you go.
But yeah, no, at the time I thought it was just the coolest, best Mario thing that ever come out.
Oh yeah,
I love that game.
Yeah, no, I got my GameCube.
Nice catch.
For Christmas, not the year it came out, but the following year. And I got Metroid Prime and Super Mario Sunshine on the same day.
Ooh,
and getting those two games, on the same day, going from N64 to GameCube was like, holy shit! These look amazing. Like I couldn't believe it.
1 minute, 47 seconds.
I didn't get a GameCube new. I got it used a couple years later. I'll be honest, I don't remember what it was like. Because buying it used, that was kind of my thing for most of my youth. I couldn't afford them new, so I'd get it a little bit later. But usually you would get like 5 or 6 games because I'm buying it off of a cousin or at a thrift shop or something. So yeah, I don't remember everything I got on GameCube right off the bat, but it was, Sonic Adventure 2 is one of them. Mm-hmm. Since we're talking Sega. Yeah, also just Family Video was my lifeline at that era because I didn't own a lot of games. I was alive, like let's go rent.
Yep.
Let's play some Sega Beach Spikers volleyball.
Morris arrows ahead, and he's pounded.
I think the Chiefs might have this one in the bag.
Yeah, let's see. We got a big first down coming up. Strategic use of the timeout.
Now, for me, we are in field goal range. Yeah, I don't know about the AI. The ball for me, I would kick this real quick.
The shoe doesn't count. Oh man! Insult to injury, salt in the wound.
Those runners are not making any
All right, we're gonna get the ball back here. Once they go for it.
I say go for it. This is where I would actually enjoy like a stupid 2010 Microsoft Kinect integration to where like it's watching, I can cheer them on and be like, go for it! And then the AI is like, I guess the crowd wants us to go for it.
Was that a thing with Kinect? It would respond to your vocal enthusiasm?
That was definitely in like the vision stage, the pitch stage. It was going to do all that and more. Like, if you remember that crazy like Milo demonstration? But as for like actual games that did that, I mean, well, you definitely had speech integration for media playback.
Oh, Kinect was the optical one that was on top of the box. I was thinking of PS Move as the other one.
Oh, yeah. No, Kinect is the camera speaker array.
Yeah.
But you could definitely use it for media control of like, play Netflix.
Really?
Play, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Pause movie. It's super cool tech that's been remade by so many other people in so many cool ways. It's just, you know, at first they said the console wouldn't work without it, and all the games just weren't that cool. A lot of them were just technically didn't work. Like, imagine the Wii Music famous demo that sucked, times 10. Like, that was like, every Kinect experience is like, why isn't it working? And then it'd work for 30 minutes, and you're like, well, this is the future.
Right.
And then it'd be broken for a week.
Turns out
I have one. It's not much to do with it.
Motion-based gameplay didn't replace, you know, button inputs, but I do like the fact that from that generation we have, you know, gyro-assisted aiming now. Like, I love using that in shooters or shooting a bow and arrow or something. Having that little fine-tuning makes all the difference.
Yeah, motion controls on a physical object, good.
Yeah.
Motion controls on an invisible object with no feedback or push, no thank you.
So good.
And the Wii, you know, was like, and same with like the, what was it? What they called the Dual Sense was the Dual Shock was the non-motion.
Yeah,
PS3.
Dual Sense was the PS3.
Or that was the PS4.
Was that their stock controller? Was the Dual Sense with the pad?
Or is now the PS5 the Dual Sense? Doesn't matter. When they added the motion control in the PS3 era,
6-axis.
6-axis. Thank you, sir. That's what they called it. Yeah, no, that certain games it was really nice, but like anytime you try to build around it, it just wasn't sophisticated enough. That's why, like, if you got to play Steel Battalion on the original controller with all the buttons and everything, because like that's half the fun.
How much is that going for on eBay right now?
Oh, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was $1,000.
And I rarely see it like in good shape. It's generally like it's been beat up and whatnot.
Yeah. It's been stuck in mom's attic for a decade.
But you remember like in the 80s, a very common toy was like the car racing set with the wheel and the stick, and then all it was like literally a plastic wheel inside a screen. Like
it's like you're playing Spy Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen children in this modern age still be entertained by that sort of stuff.
That's one of the best toys of all time, honestly. Like, that's a great electronic toy.
So like Steel Battalion, I feel like even if you don't have the game and an Xbox, I still want one just to kind of pretend like I have all these buttons and I'm a mech conductor.
Bring your friends over, put something on the TV, and just convince them that you're the one controlling all the hijinks that's happening on screen.
I bet it'd be really cool props
Ravens.
if you're trying to shoot a scene for
10
like
seconds to go! Pass interference? Come on, I want to see a flag!
Like if we're gonna shoot a sci-fi film, and I need like a sci-fi television director, like in the back in the studio, twisting knobs, you put that Steel Battalion control there, like, all right, zoom in.
Yeah. It's like you're controlling the Truman Show.
Camera 2, fire!
Yeah. You're Ed Harris in the Truman Show. Oh, took the kneel. That's it.
Yes. They did it for me. I appreciate
Hard fought battle, 10-3. You know. Very 90s era score.
Yeah. Feels appropriate though.
Pre-offensive rule favoring years that we're in now.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was great.
For a 3D football game from 1999, you could do a lot worse than this.
Absolutely. No, I need to check out the Maddens of this era. Was NFL Quarterback Club still happening at that time?
Quarterback Club was 98, 99, 2000. I think 2001 or 2 was their last year. Yeah.
I want to check out NFL Blitz as well, because like my gut's telling me like I wouldn't be surprised if 2K kind of comes out as like, no, this was the best football game you could have played in 1999.
I'd say in this year, I think that's kind of the consensus, but we should stress test that.
Well, and also like let's not forget that like in 1999 in America, don't hold me to this internet, but I'm pretty sure like this is the only console you're going to be playing online. So like playing Madden against other people is kind of mind-blowingly.
Yeah.
That is such a sellable feature that other consoles can't match.
And it came with a 56K modem. Built in.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Dreamcast is just amazing. With the modem, with the CD base, the Windows operating system, we've already been talking about stuff like emulation and whatnot, but like, it's great just for playing CDs.
All right, this was great.
Cool, yeah, let's
Thanks
wrap
for
it
having
up.
me.
Ben, thank you for coming. This was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like this type of content, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all those things. You can follow me on this channel, and I'm just going to end it there. There's other ways you can find me. We'll figure it out. Ben, do you want to plug anything, or you just want to
You can find me
mysterious?
You can find me on Instagram at benjabutton. You'll find random content, stories, posts, not necessarily video game related, but definitely me related.
Oh my gosh. You're about to blow up, bro.
That's right.
It's happening. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.